All right, guys, I've been getting a lot of questions about these lever type locks, particularly the ones with the posts, and the questions are usually about tensioning. How do I tension it? So, you always seem to get these when you buy boxes of locks unseen from eBay or get them off Craigslist. There's always a bunch of these locks in there. Nobody wants to mess with them. I don't know why. They really aren't that difficult, but they are a little bit obscure simply because of their age. So let me show you 4 different ways to tension these, starting from the easiest and going up to the most difficult and, of course, the most expensive. Let me clamp it up and we'll get started. All right, before we get started, I thought I might take a minute and talk about the lock. This is kind of unusual. This is an Eagle lock. It is a lever lock, and you can see it says Eagle Lock Corporation, and I think it says Terryville, Connecticut, USA. So this is probably one of Eagle's very first locks. It's interesting from a collector's perspective because this one's in absolutely perfect shape, but it didn't come with a key. They always seem to lose the keys for these things, but no worries because I'm going to show you how to pick them. All right, the very easiest and most affordable way to pick these are with these wires. You guys have seen me use these many, many times before. Now, it is a lever lock and there's a post in the way, but you can still use these wires. And the way I usually do it, you take one wire, you slide them in the keyway, you find the tensioner, which is usually on the side or at the top, like right there. We are now tensioning with a piece of wire, and it's balanced on that post. So very conveniently, that holds our tool in place. Then we take a second wire, we slide him in on the right alongside of him, and now we can use that one to pick the levers. So very easy to do. It's not quite like a dedicated tool, I get it, but it's absolutely very, very inexpensive to make these. I simply take a piece of wire, and by the way, I buy it off of eBay, buy it off Amazon. They call it music wire or piano wire. The stuff I buy measures 1.33 millimeters in diameter. I don't know what gauge that is. All I do is I just bend a little square in it. You can use Plastidip or you can use shrink wrap. Now, a lot of you guys just say, well, okay, got it. Now just tell me how long that is. And I don't really worry about that. There's no right answer. And so what I usually do, I have about 4 or 5 wires that over time have proven to be the right length. But what I usually do is start out with about 4 or 5 of basically templates. This is one I put shrink wrap on so I can manipulate it, and I just leave this extra long. When I come across a lock that none of my existing wires fit, I just pick up one of my templates, I lay him on there, I cut him, I measure him like that, I cut him off to the right length, and then I start using him. And then he becomes part of my wire collection. Very, very simple to do and inexpensive. All right, the next way, you're still going to need your wires, so that's why I kind of recommend going that way to begin with. But the second cheapest way is to obtain a blank key. Now, this is an Eagle lock, and this key is made by ERA, but I'm really looking for something where the piping, where the post, the center post, is about the same diameter as what I have in the key. This one looks about right. And when you slide him on there, unfortunately, he's a little bit big, so you have to begin filing to get the length correct first, and then it'll slide in there. You can make one. Here we go. This is one I filed down. So he fits in there perfectly, and he slides around and moves in. Now notice when I turn this guy, right out there is where he's tensioning, I filed the top of this off. And the reason I did that, right alongside that post, the reason I filed this flat is so that when he's in there and he's tensioning the lock, I really want room so that I can tension with my fingers or some type of bar mechanism that I think I've showed you before. And there's still room for me to slide my wire in there and manipulate those levers like so. So that's the second cheapest way. You're still going to need those wires, so you're going to have to start there. Invest a few bucks in some music wire. All right, the third way, again, we're going up in complexity and cost. These little guys. Now these, I got these from Andy Mack. Some of these are prototypes, but what they are, they're basically just like that blank key. They have different size piping, so there's a smaller one. I've got 4 different sizes here. And where'd that other one? I'm going to drop him here somewhere. There he is. So, very large one. So let's see if he's right. Nope, doesn't fit. He's the next size up. And there we go. So he does fit. Rotate around. And now we just tension off of this pre-made tool. Now notice on this one we have a little groove, and that is so Get them out of here. Again, we want that wire, so we have a little wire that'll slide down inside of there, and that little groove keeps them perfectly aligned, so I can tension with the little T-bar there, and I can manipulate the levers with my wire. So great tools, but you're going to spend a little bit more money. The trick is finding the right size piping. So I've got 4, and if the piping is not right, then I'm back to using the wire or trying to find a blank key that'll fit it. All right, the last one is obviously the most complex and the most expensive. And these guys sell, they are called 2-in-1 tools. A lot of the online dealers sell them. These are really, they're mostly junk. They take a lot of work to get them to work right. And you notice the diameters are almost all the same. They just don't seem to fit the majority of locks. I do have one here. This is made by a company called RB Lock Tools in the UK. And this one is by Pure Lock, just happens to fit. That's why I chose this lock, guys. I wanted to show you how the thing works. So what you do, you have an inner core which turns, and that would be your tensioner. And then you have an outer core operated by this wheel which turns your levers. So 2-in-1 tool. So what we're going to do, you just line both of them up. You slide them in there like so. We get them to go all the way in. And now we start to tension. Now that's tensioning. And I'm going to, let me see if I can reach around here. I'll go ahead and pick the lock here. I'm going to reach around, like, make sure that's tight. I'm just going to reach around, trying to stay out of the way here, and apply some tension just on the, so when you find the tension, it'll come to a peak, and you just turn it just a little bit further to keep some pressure on the tension bar in the back. And yeah, that was not the plan. Let's try that again. Let me close them back up. I did not expect that. Let me pull the tool out. All right, now let's just put the tensioner in there. Let me just turn the tensioner. I'm going to keep that lever manipulator out. Yep, okay, so now we know why Eagle doesn't make these locks anymore. This is a 1-lever lock, so the tensioner is actually the one that opened it. If there had been other levers, you would have simply kept tension on it and manipulated it with this tool. That's really disappointing out of Eagle Company, I got to say. Anyway, guys, there you go. 4 different techniques on how to tension these locks. Don't throw these away. Don't give them away. Don't throw them in a corner and forget about them. Most of them are quite a bit more challenging than this one, I've got to say. Anyway, guys, appreciate your time. Stay safe. Stay legal. Get into lever lock picking, guys. It's just an expansion of the sport, and I think you'll really get into it after you've played with a few of these. Thanks, guys.